Greetings, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of In the Balance. I'm Corinne McKay, and thanks very much for tuning in. And thanks, as always, to Andrew for inviting me to present this series. It was so much fun reading all of your responses to episode 1 and seeing photos of all of you playing the guitar and splashing in the ocean and climbing mountains, and I think we've got something really good going here. So in episode 1, we talked about our 2 goals for this series, but let's review them. Fulfillment and no regrets. And as freelancers, I think we're often very good at fulfillment. Lots of us work a lot because we really love our jobs, which is great. But I think sometimes we're less good at no regrets, thinking about how we're going to feel over the long term about the things that we choose to do or not do. So today in episode 2, we're going to talk about the difference between things you can't do and things you choose not to do or you don't want to do. Here's an example. I talk to lots of translators who say that their work time is limited because of their non-work responsibilities. Often that's taking care of kids, but they'll say something like, I can't work a full day because my kids get home at 3. I can't travel for work because I can't be away from my family. So usually I ask them to pause there and rephrase that, because I think what they're really saying is that they choose to allocate that time to their family or their life outside of work, which is positive and even good. But instead of saying that you can't avoid those responsibilities, take charge of your priorities and say that those are your choices, not your obligations. On the flip side, I talk to a lot of translators who apply this to their work. I can't take a real vacation because my clients can't survive without me. I can't raise my rates because I won't have any work. I can't go to conferences because they're too expensive. And again, I think what you're really saying here is that you choose not to do those things, or you don't want to do those things. You could raise your rates, but that might mean that you'd have to find new clients, which is a lot of work. You could go to a conference, but you'd have to plan and budget for it, which takes a lot of forethought. So I think you can see what I'm getting at here. So what's the difference in those wordings? Well, first, I think that a big step in achieving a healthy, balanced life is not only knowing your priorities, which most of us do, or say we do at least, but taking responsibility for your priorities. So instead of blaming some external factor for your choices, I can't, you own it. You say, I choose not to, I won't, I don't work on weekends or take vacation time or whatever the issue is. And I think also when you say I can't, you kind of let yourself off the hook. Somehow the situation is outside of your control and therefore not your fault. Whereas I think a really important element of a happy, balanced life is to intentionally choose what you give your time and energy to accept that you can't control what gets thrown at you or what people ask you to do, but you can completely control what you choose to give your time and attention to. So in the spirit of fulfillment and no regrets, let's do a little audience participation. So take 2 pieces of paper and pick 2 things, maybe 1 from your work life and 1 from personal life, or 2 from 1, and write down a sentence that starts with I can't, about something you might normally say you can't do, and then cross it out and write I won't, I don't, or I choose not to. So for example, instead of saying I can't work more than 4 hours a day because of my other responsibilities, you say I choose not to work more than 4 hours a day. So here are mine. I crossed out I can't. I choose not to work on weekends because it drains my energy and takes away from the enjoyment of being with my family. I will not, I crossed out I can't. I will not work with clients who won't pay my rates because I would resent them and not give them my best work. So over to you. You can write down on your 2 pieces of paper your redesigned statements and either type them in the comments for us or post a picture for us. And then we can all see each other's resolutions where we're going to really own our priorities and be responsible for what we choose to do and not to do. So I'll talk to you again in 2 weeks, and in episode 3, we're going to talk about the importance of positive habits. We all have a lot of negative habits, right? But we're going to talk about the importance of positive habits. So thanks, and we'll talk in 2 weeks.